Dear OPC Days audience, I'm happy to welcome you to my talk. My name is Matthias Schuh. I'm co-CEO of Ascentive GmbH. We are an expert in wireless sensor systems for laboratory device monitoring and sample monitoring. I'm going to talk to you about Hackathon as the best practice for introducing OPC UA into an industry. So this will be also a tale starting in a beer tent and ending up at one of the major manufacturers for analytics technology in Europe and worldwide. So stay tuned. So, but first of all, what is our situation at the moment? So we have a target image for the Lads OPC UA component specification, which is plug and play interoperability of lab and analytical devices. This initiative to create an OPCUA component specification came out of the Spectaris Association, which represents most of the German manufacturers for laboratory and analytical devices. And Spectaris is also harmonized with a lot of other international associations. And the Network Laboratory Devices Group decided they wanted to create a standard. They chose OPCUA as it offered basically all the necessary tools to avoid reinventing the wheel and really focus on what is necessary, information modeling and interoperability. So Spectaris, the VDMA and OPC Foundation created a joint working group. And the team that wanted to create the standard also decided on a time plan. So an ambitious time plan, as you can tell, beginning somewhere in 2020 and ending up with a final document end of 2023. And I may have to say here that we would start up really building this from the ground up. And what is lacking here in the time plan is actually also interaction with the community, with the vendors, with the users. And on top of that, we also noticed when we started working on the standard that there's this big challenge with change or with introducing this new technology to an industry that a lot of people in the community may have heard of OPCUA, but would still confuse it with OPCDA. Less than 5% really came in contact with it, and only maybe 1% or less than 1% knew how to apply it. And this was true for developers and product managers alike. Then there were these rumors out there that we had this complexity in the steep learning curve for OPCUA, false information that this would be something only for the shop floor. And obviously the crowd telling us, hey, we've been doing all right with RS-232, why should we change? So to be able to, on the one hand, support the time plan of the working group to get feedback from the device vendors and the users, plus be able to educate our industry and prepare them for adoption, we decided, okay, a hackathon should be the perfect means to do that. If you do not know what a hackathon is, hackathons typically people from the tech space meet, or this is historically what happened. People from the tech space means they disassembled devices, reassembled them, understood it. This was also true for devices and software. They recombined it with other stuff they learned to create very cool things out of that. And nowadays, hackathons are not only from the tech space. Lots of disciplines join hackathons to create creative solutions. We see hackathons now also happening with the companies to basically hack down on certain business goals. So we thought, okay, what we want to do now, first of all, is we want to educate developers with a hackathon. We want to provide a first touch point to what is the ongoing process in the joint working group, and directly generate feedback for the concepts currently in discussion within the joint working group on the real world devices. Does this really work for this or that vendor's device. Finally the beer tent. So this was actually our first installment of the hackathon. As you can see, a couple of companies joined us back then. We were still in the middle of the pandemic, but it was really, really cool. The 2Mac AG from Munich provided us with a really, really great backyard. We set up a beer tent, several beer benches and tables. We had already a demo OPCUA server running on a magnetic stirrer by 2Mac and a server with simulated devices, a great barbecue plus kitchen next to us. We also chose accommodations in hotels for the participants, about 500-meter walking distance. And since COVID was still around, we had always COVID tests available. About 12 people, primarily the developers, joined the hackathon. We chose to do that as our primary audience, just to be sure that we would be focusing on the technical aspects before we would go into strategic product stuff. We had about 3 to 5 volunteers on site that were just curious about what was going on there. And also from VDMA and Matthias Arnold from the Joint Working Group, people to educate on what is going on at the moment. Obviously, all tested negative for COVID. And one of the first takeaways after the first hackathon, where we really were only about teaching the fundamentals and learning about the fundamentals of OPCUA, we recognized, okay, we need to do proper community management to keep these people engaged. So we introduced also a regulars table, open for everyone in the community, occurring about once a month. Yeah, for the second hackathon, we went to Dresden, which was actually also delayed by nearly 4 months. We did this beginning of April. The delay was also caused, obviously, by the winter spike in COVID cases. Now we had a great indoor location, also again, the important infrastructure necessary. And this time we already started to form islands of tables according to the tech stack of the developers, encouraging basically that there were people took part in the first hackathon, that they would also be able to educate their peers, something like train the trainer. And this is a concept we've stuck to till now, and it's working really, really great. This time around, we had about 20 devs on site. The idea was still primarily educational, teaching the basics of OPCUA and the fundamental concepts of Lads. About 3 supporters, and again, 3 supporters joining us from the Joint Working Group. The third one was luckily carried out by Infoteam Software AG in Erlangen. Again, we had about 200 square meters, but the great thing about this location was we had additional breakout rooms. As you can see here on the picture, we were able to isolate certain groups for some time with remote support to work on certain topics, very, very focused, and then rejoin the hackathon crowd later on. We were looking at about 25 devs at this hackathon, and the good thing is we felt ready enough to also have, let's say, outsiders look at what we are doing. So Infoteam invited about 10 visitors, also part devs and also product managers, CTOs, to have a look at what we are doing and give them a basic introduction of what we're doing with Lads OPC UA, which was very well received, and which would also lay the ground work for what we were doing in Hackathon Volume 4, which we conducted in Berlin at Lab Forward GmbH. Here we were able to have a very, very special space available to us. This is not something out of the ordinary. Lab Forward has something called the connectivity space. And this is a space that was partly turned into a laboratory with laboratory devices being put in something that resembles their natural habitat. Plus, around this space where we could sit down and hack, we had also breakout rooms. And this really created the atmosphere of hacking on laboratory devices in the lab, and which also basically give us the spark to think also about not only converting one device, but what can we do with several devices, interoperability, what kind of workflows can we now also showcase that reflect the laboratory properly. Now we were already looking at a plethora of devices that had OPCUA servers running, which made it also easier for the software people to test their OPCUA clients on different devices. Very great catering. This time again, we were able to serve even more people, about 30 devs and about 10 product manager positions. And this time we really actively invited them and included them into the hackathon. So we enhanced officially our primary audience with a secondary audience, and we had a product manager track moderated outcomes. You can see, for example, here on the picture of the whiteboard, where they really worked on, okay, what kind of value can we deliver to our customers? I think which is very, very important to also make the adoption of such a standard a success within a company. We had 5 people supporting from our host Lab Forward on site, which is really necessary once you grow that big. Matthias Arnold, the CTO of the joint working group, was there and also giving really one-on-one talks with certain device vendors to talk through their information modeling and certain challenges, and also collecting feedback. And we were happy that also Stefan Hoppe joined us to say hello, which was truly motivating also to hear his experience about OPCUA and how his journey started. So what are the takeaways after 4 hackathons completed? So infrastructure-wise, very, very objective. You can obviously start in a tent, which is really cool, but then you have to have the weather be in sync. So office space is a lot better, especially for harsh weather conditions. Proper IT setup is really, really necessary. Proper uplink to the internet via LAN or Wi-Fi for the devices, plus for the hackers to be able also to retrieve information from the web and research stuff. And the breakout rooms also are very, very important if certain groups want to isolate for focused working for some time. I mentioned the people aspect a lot of times. It's really, really important to focus on your audience in the beginning. We selected our primary audience to be the developers, and then introduced additional interest groups like the management positions. And a second step, I think this is important just to make sure that there's already something tangible around before people from sales and product management get in touch with that, so they get a proper idea of what is going on. It's also very important that you train your trainers, basically, or that you identify people within your hackathon crowd that are good guides and that often know how to overcome initial hurdles, to act as table or room captains, and if possible, for additional stuff, get objective moderators, like we did, for example, for the product manager track. Michael René Weber from ASIS Business School joined us and moderated this track amazingly. Yeah, additional takeaways. So what we can definitely tell that hackathons are a great platform. First of all, to collect statements and direct feedback from your community, and really create this earth wire between market reality and theory within a joint working group. And it's great to really create joint initiatives out of the community. Furthermore, hackathons will deliver the stories and content to create training material tailored to the industry and generate great marketing content. So this was something we created out of the volume 4. We were asked, hey, do you want to join the cloud initiative at Hannover Messe? And we said, yes, hey, we're going to totally do that. So a lot of associations and companies basically created then this demo to feed this dashboard at Hannover Messe. As you can see here, a proud developer. I took a photo next to his graph of his liquid handling station, reporting relevant status information to the cloud. And also Matthias were very, very happy educating people about Lads OPC UA. And as you can tell in the behind us, there are also devices standing on the desk. We also really had something tangible to show on the fair, how we interact with a Lads OPC UA device. Furthermore, the hackathons and Matthias's hard work as the CTO of the joint working group paid off, and we got this really, really great workshop material now. The necessary and condensed information how to really start your journey with Lads OPC UA, or for some with OPC UA in general in the laboratory and device industry, which is really the distilled step-by-step process that is the basis for success in our hackathons. This is typically what a user goes through, or a developer goes through in a 1.5 day hackathon, and he ends up with a running OPC UA server. The workshop was received very, very well at Future Labs Live, and is now also available with the slides under MIT license. So feel free to check it out. Matthias also worked into this workshop a demo of another component specification, the relative spatial locations, and that's to show how we make use of the OPC UA ecosystem. I think a great demo. Please have a look at it. And obviously, once you complete the hard work for our workshop, you're happy to have some time to relax afterwards. So here the team of Lads OPC UA that mostly did the work for the Lads OPC UA workshop at Future Labs Live. We have additional outcomes of training content. So we have, on the one hand, or usable content from the hackathons. We have a JavaScript or TypeScript library to create Lads devices, which was a joint effort of Accenture, Left Forward, and Smart Up Solutions. And we also have a great tutorial on how to run a Lads OPC UA server on ESP32S3 device, which is a joint effort by Centum2Mac and Bionoy. So also please check that out and reach out if you need any support in running that. Having all this output and this material available through hackathons also enables you, like I showed earlier, to display properly tangible content at a trade show. This leads to the fact that I and my colleague Jan are now have a laboratory roadshow with lots of different devices, but it's really worth it. As you can see here, we have here these small devices like magnetic stirrers, sensors, and thermostats running the Open62541 stack, and more complex devices like a numenometer and the liquid handling station. And this was really an ingredient to success on the trade show. And this is Carsten, very proud, standing next to his luminometer. Yeah, the next one is going to happen at Agilent Technologies. We're very proud that such a big supporter of us and manufacturer of laboratory analytical devices is hosting us, is really convinced about the value of such an event, also doing that in-house. We want to be there September 7th and 8th, and we will continue hacking. So reach out if you want to learn more. By then, we also have our 1.0 released. I'm very sure about that. And yeah, if you have any additional questions, reach out to me via email or LinkedIn. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope this is great motivation for you also to create such events. Bye bye.